Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the study. Going to be talking about Inovio Pharmaceuticals. This is a stock that I've been following for longer than a year now. This is a stock that is a biotech company that's involved in the development of DNA immunotherapies. Sounds fancy, huh? So these immunotherapies, what are they aiming for? They're focusing on treating, preventing cancers and infectious diseases. So the company uses these immunotherapies based on DNA, and what they do is that they actually deliver the drug or the agent through its electroporation delivery device. Yeah, how crazy is that, right? It's pretty cool though. This device helps stimulate a immune response that then helps fight off these diseases. And as you can see here, they talk about the plasmids that are precisely designed. And then here is the smart device, the CELLECTRA right here, where the specialized plasmid with that DNA encoded is delivered using that device. So the device is used for focus on Hep C, Hep B, HIV diseases, Ebola, even MERS. We've seen them work on Zika as well when we had the Zika virus outbreak a couple of years ago. And now we fast forward to today where we are seeing Inovio take on COVID-19. So they have a pretty chart here. I'm going to try to do my best to simplify this massive chart that they have here. So the INO-4800 is the name of the agent that Inovio is working on right now. It's a DNA vaccine that works against the SARS-CoV-2, the novel coronavirus, which caused the COVID-19 pandemic that we're in right now. The good news here is that the company already has previous experience, as I had mentioned earlier, with developing DNA vaccines, such as with the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, MERS, and this specific DNA vaccine is specifically DNA plasmid, as you can see here, that is going to be injected intradermally, followed by the use of that device, which you could see here. That device then goes in and it starts going into the cells, causing an immune response that is going to be generated by T cells. Your T cells are your defender cells that are going to help stimulate that reaction. So if you do become exposed to the coronavirus in the future, your body already has an advantage, or kind of like the blueprint of encountering this virus and knowing how to defend against it. And the device does the job of delivering that DNA plasmid directly into the cells of the body that we're seeing here, which in result helps the body develop an immune response to generate that immunity against the virus. So another nice feature about this vaccine is that it's stable at room temperature for more than a year, I believe. I don't know if there's any more updates on that, but good news is that it doesn't need to be refrigerated or frozen. That's what I meant. It doesn't have to be frozen during transport or storage, which we have seen other vaccines run into issues with this. And that then presents a very tough challenge with logistics. And then here they have some other details on their website. And the other good news that Inovio has going for them moving forward is that they have expanded their partnership with Ada Vaccines, another company that's helping them conduct their global phase 3 efficacy trial of this DNA vaccine. But there is some bad news, and there is a bearish side to investing in such a high-risk, speculative biotech company. And the bad news simply is that Inovio was off to a fast pace and an early lead in the COVID-19 vaccine race. And they were boosted with investments from the U.S. government. The U.S. government helped further accelerate the company's R&D, research and development efforts alongside. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was something called Operation Warp Speed, where the government was funding numerous biotech companies which pretty much got a jump start, and they were able to bring out these vaccines and do fast studies and fast developments, and we already have Pfizer, we already have Moderna in circulation, and because we have those vaccines already in circulation, the U.S. government has actually decided to pull out its funding for the final phase of the study with Inovio, which is kind of bad news. And I know what you're thinking. Dave, why are you focused on this vaccine if Moderna and Pfizer are already out in circulation? And this is a fair question. The reason is actually very simple. Although Inovio may not have a large impact on the U.S. market, given that Moderna and Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and others have made it into the market before Inovio, the global market still needs another vaccine in circulation to further help address the issue of seeing these breakouts happen with COVID. And we need the need for global vaccinations with ease and logistics challenges to be able to cover Europe, be able to cover Asia, be able to cover Africa, many different areas of the world that need help. So I do think this is a very attractive investment option. I also think that technology here is the future, and it's just looking at the phase 2 data also revealed earlier this year, showed patients showing a great response level and minimal side effects, meaning overall it was well tolerated. And if you want to see that phase 2 data, I'm going to try to keep the video really short here because there is a lot of data that's presented. You could go here and they have a summary of the positive endpoints, safety endpoints. Remember those T-cell immune responses that we were talking about? They looked at that. But let me show you a cool trick for those of you who really want to look into the study, get an idea. They have a clinicaltrials.gov identifier. Clinicaltrials.gov is where you can find any clinical trial in the database that they have uploaded there. You copy this number, you go to clinicaltrials.gov, you put the number in, and look at what you have here. You will get the study record detail, safety, immunogenicity, and efficacy of INO-4800 for COVID-19 in healthy seronegative adults at high risk of SARS-CoV-2 exposure, and you can pull up all your data here. The type of study, it was a phase 2-3 randomized blind placebo-controlled trial. They looked at safety, immunogenicity, and the efficacy of this prophylactic vaccine against COVID-19. The way how the data is presented here on this page, it's a little bit too much. I actually prefer the tabular view. You go here, and it should refresh. Here we go. And so you can actually see it in a little bit more organized manner. You can see the first submitted date, the actual date where the study started. You can look at the primary outcome measures that they were looking for to find out whether the drug works or whether it's safe. It's listed here. You also have the secondary outcome measures and a whole bunch of other details down here. The type of devices, the interventions, so what drug was used, what device. This is a very great tool that you can use for any drug data, biotech pharma stocks that you might be looking at, speculation trades. So wanted to share that piece of information. Now, going into the trading and investing aspect, after going over all those details about Inovio and the background, COVID, the mechanism of action with this medication that we are working on and trying to get into circulation, and hopefully FDA approval would be the ultimate goal at the end of the day, or at least emergency use authorization, an EUA, right? So we can get that in circulation and get that global need out there. What I really like about this company is that when you look at Fintel, and I like to see always who's in these names, and we can see that Vanguard and BlackRock, my two favorites that I like to see on this chart, have significant ownership in this company, and they've been here for a while as well, probably longer than me. I've been here in and out swing trading this 2 or 3 times now, actually 2 times, and now this is my 3rd time where I have about 400 shares of my current position right now. But Vanguard and BlackRock, I like to see this because you have 8.4% of the ownership of the shares under BlackRock and 5.42 under Vanguard. That's almost about 14% right there. That's a pretty significant chunk. So that gives me a good feeling about being in this speculative name. Of course, given that it's high risk, so there is potential for high reward, but you got to make sure you're not putting too much money into these trades. And remember that everything you see here is not a suggestion to buy or sell any securities. I always have to say that. You have to do your own due diligence, your own research. And as you can see here, lastly, before I end the video, you can have a look at this weekly chart and you can see the journey here from 2020 and the COVID pandemic just taking off. And you have fast forward to February where you got news here and the stock went up that whole week. And then the next week it went down. So you could have got in at around $3-4, ride this up to 15, 14, 12. I believe I took it from 5 to 12, so it was a nice 100% return. And then look at that. We come back down weeks later, and then there was news on the positive data and the news of also the government helping out with funding that just drove the stock price up. Very positive, very bullish. And that is another pop right there in the stock price that you could take advantage of those profits. And well, I'm anticipating another pop pretty much. I like this range here of accumulating shares between, have this support line drawn up with $8.79 and $6.21 down here on the bottom. So as long as we're in this range, I'm okay with accumulating. Also, if things do go bad and it does exit this range, I may actually just want to hold on to these shares because the company has a whole DNA pipeline that may be quite significant in 2024, 2025, and further beyond. I think I could pull up the pipeline here. Yeah, so we got, look at this. They have all these medications in the pipeline. Phase 2, they got immuno-oncology, all these infectious diseases in the works right here. And so they have a bunch of catalysts that line up quite beautifully for nice little swing trades here and there. Remember, when you hold on to shares for, let's say, longer than a year, you do get that tax advantage of that gain being sold. If the stock happens to rocket up and you get your money back and you end up in the green, hey, guess what? That's going to be taxed, that realized gain, at a reduced amount, not a short-term realized gain where you get taxed the full amount on your bracket. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more, smash that like button, follow me, and I'll see you in the next one.